This is the first coat, and you'll see at the top it sucked it in a lot, and it's going to need another coat or two. This wood is some of the most difficult wood I've worked with in all of 18 years. So don't get disheartened. These things happen. You just let it suck it in, because it's sucking in the water, the moisture. And then let it dry. Walk away from it. Go work on other things. And then come back to it. And I'm telling you, it's still going to turn out wonderful. And that bottom part is going to be a different color. So again, when you see the door, hi! See my messy kitchen. My paint, these are my paint shorts. Please ignore. But as you can see, when the doors are closed, that's going to really pop once it's done. So don't let things discourage you. If you're a beginner, these things happen. Go with it, and it turns out looking more watercolorish or a different color. It's actually still going to be just as beautiful, I promise. Now I'm going to start on the side of the China hutch while the inside is drying. I am just using that same sanding block just to roughen it up. And normally, again, with chalk paint, you normally don't have to do that. I'm just doing it as an extra precaution because this particular piece of furniture is really got a lot of raw wood, and is just needing that extra little bit. It's always better to do a little bit more than not. So here it is in the microfiber cloth. I just use to wipe it down, get the dust off. See, little pieces coming off as I'm doing it. So it's dry wood, really dry. And then we're going to be using, well, I couldn't decide. I was going to say the Gulf by Dixie Belle or Mint Julep. And since the inside is almost very much like this, the color we chose for that, I'm going to go with Mint Julep. And these are 16 ounces. And you can get these from the Other Side Vintage. We can ship them out. We also have them listed on eBay. You can private message me or send me an email at the Other Side Vintage for prices. If you spend more than a certain amount on our paints, we will ship for free in the continent of the United States. Alright, so I'm just taking the plastic off and opening this up. As you see, just pull the top off. The tops are made out of paper, but also some are made out of the foam, and the foam top, try to get off here so none of the pieces get inside the jar. There you go. Nice and minty. Love it. Oops, I'm dropping pieces. Okay, I'm going to be down here for a minute just getting ready. The cat is down here driving me crazy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Waverly brush. This is by Waverly. I want to get some of the Dixie Belles like I mentioned earlier. I just haven't got them in yet. And then I'm going to take a little bit of a mister, and I'm just going to mist, watch this, barely mist top of my brush. You can also dip in water, but I'm just going to mist the sides of this brush just to get a little bit damp. And then, hopefully you can see this, but I'm going to take the paint, dip in there, just a little bit, and start with that. And I'm going to go across like this because of this detail at the top. I want to get in this crevice a bit, so I'm going to go across first. Wish you could see this detail on top. Again, just dip into the jar and just get a little bit on your brush. Not even that much. And I'm going to go across. I know you can't see this part yet, but what I'm doing is basically just putting on one coat. Again, dipping very little. This time I'm going to go down. And you can go whichever way you want. I just like, because of this crevice, I don't know if you can see this crevice right here. Sorry. Can I get it right? This crevice right here, I'm trying to, that's why I'm going to cross first to get up underneath that ledge. And I'm going to bring it straight down and kind of overlap. So let me just get this base part on. And if you feel like the paint is starting to, what I call drag, or be less smooth when you're putting it on, it's like it's almost like hard to put it, not hard, but if it's starting to pull a little bit, just use that mister bottle and mist just very lightly. Mist your brush again. See how quick this is happening? Okay, I'm gonna sit this down. Let's see if I do this. Holding this thing at the same time. So you'll see, this is the top, and then there. So you can see where I've stopped. Then it starts to go to this next ridge and here. So I'm just painting down, but when I get to this ridge, I'm gonna paint across just to get up underneath this lip here and a little bit on top here. Okay, and you'll see the mint julep by Dixie Belle. Now I am working on the front of the cabinet. As you can see, I've already started. I have my Waverly brush still, and I'm using the Dixie Belle. I've only used a tiny bit to do the whole entire side over here. Now I'm going to do the front, and I'm going to do the other side over here once I'm done. Let it dry for a while, and then I'll go back and start working on the end part of the cabinet. As you can see, it needs another coat. And then I will finish up by doing around the glass. Alright, I just finished putting on the first coat of Dixie Belle Mint Julep, and I just want to show you, this is a 16-ounce jar, and that's all I've used. It's hard to tell, but that's like, I don't know, not even a fourth, maybe a fourth. You see how much more is left. So, pretty good coverage. Look at that. And this is the first. This does have some veneer issues down at the bottom, so I'm aware that it looks like. And then around the side, I'm going to take a razor blade to get that off. Or better yet, because it's chalk paint, I mean, I am going to add more coat, by the way, because I know there's like, you see that spot right there. I'm going to do another coat. But when I'm done, I'm going to take a wet paper towel or lint-free rag and just wipe the chalk paint right off of the glass. You could use a razor blade like I just mentioned, but I just realized I'm using chalk paint and not like house paint or latex, and I can just get that right off. So, not bad. Again, really loving this mint julep. It's hard to see on the side, I know. My light. I am painting inside again. I don't know if you heard, they're doing our roof, and so stuff is falling down on my patios, including nails and shingles and such. So, and then on the inside, I don't think you can see, but if you look earlier, I'm painting it a blue, the Gulf, Dixie Belle the Gulf. I'm going to go back in there and finish that up. Sorry, you're just seeing my reflection. So, first coat, and there's some veneer issues here, and I will go over that again and fill it in with a little bit of paint. But so far, I am really liking the coverage. Dixie Belle paint, mint julep, and then here's the brush, here's the water bottle. I just spray, you know, I showed you, spray the brush just a tiny bit, just a second. There's a sander I used, and I use this little brush for filling in any little nooks that didn't get done. But I didn't even have to use it this time. That is the Gulf paint on there when I did the inside with all the little corners. Then I washed it out and was going to use it, but I haven't had to use it. Even got the legs. Alright, let's let this dry for a little bit and we'll come back and do the next step, which is more coats on the inside of the Gulf by Dixie Belle, and then the outside I'm going to do Mint Julep again, one more coat, and then we'll go from there and see what we come up with. Alright, check us out on the other side, and we do ship these paints in the continental USA. Go on Dixie Belle Paint and look at all their options of colors, or you can go to the other side, Vintage, eBay, order it from us directly there, and if you spend more than a certain amount, we will ship for free in the USA. Thanks again. Hi, so this was painted with Dixie Belle paint, and I gave the wrong name of the blue that's inside. I believe I called it In the Gulf, which is incorrect. It was Pure Ocean. Will that focus? Pure Ocean is what was used on the inside. Mint Julep is this pretty color on the outside. And then it has been sanded in between coats, and then another coat gone on. So it has about 3 coats on the inside. It has 2 coats on the outside. Then I sanded it and put clear coat in Satin by Dixie Belle once, and then again sanded with this 220 sander and wiped down with microfiber cloth. Did the clear coat again, sand, wipe down, clear coat again. And that was last night around midnight, and it is now around lunchtime, so it has been a good 12 hours. And now what I'm going to do, which is a little bit different, is I decided, see this detail right here? Sorry, the camera needs to focus. There's detail on this display cabinet hutch, and the detail are in these little grooves. It's also lower, I can't move the camera right now, but it's this same detail is about midway down and at the bottom of this display china cabinet. So I am not at my store right now, so I'm out of Black Caviar or Midnight Sky by Dixie Belle at the house. I've got it at the store, but don't have time to go up to the store right now. So I have some leftover Waverly Chalk Elephant, which is a lovely, it looks black in here, but it's more of a, it'll dry more of a gray. So I'm going to use this as a glaze. And Dixie Belle makes glaze, but once again, not at my store. It's at my store. And I get impatient and I just want to get projects done. So I am going to use Waverly's brush. This is not the one I painted with. This is the smaller brush that is good for getting into these little grooves. I could have used the same paintbrush I used to paint, but I'm going to try to control this a little bit more and not get it all over everything. So glaze, again, I don't have it here at the house. So I'm going to use the Elephant in Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to, because it has been clear coated, I'm going to wipe it on, wait a little bit, and then I'm going to take a wet cloth or paper towel, and I'm going to wipe it back and hope that the elephant grayish black will stay in these grooves and be a little bit like a glaze, which basically it's glazing. So using this brush also because one thing I don't like about Waverly is the thing is not as wide, the top of the can't talk, bottle, whereas Dixie Belle it's wider and you can get your bigger brushes in there. So I'm gonna just dip in, and this is a lot waterier than I thought. Watery, it's not a word. So here we go, and I hope it doesn't drip, 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 but here we go. So as you can see, hope you can, I am painting this on, and I'm trying to get a little bit into those nicks and grooves there without dripping. So I'm going to continue just to paint this on and do some even strokes so it doesn't glob. Okay, so I'm going to do that, I'm getting a little bit on top of this door. Can you see that? I'm going over a little bit on the door just to see in here. All right, I'm gonna stop with that because I'm not sure how it's going to react. I know how to use the glaze, but now here's my wet. Ooh, maybe I should wait a minute. When you're doing this, there's no wrong answer really. I mean, what happens is you just paint over it again. So here we go. Can you see that? I am just pulling that back off on my wet paper towel and pulling it back off. Yeah, now is the time. What happens if you wait too long is it ends up not being able to be removed as easily. And I just want this to be a glaze. I don't want it to be completely black on top. Now on this door, it's starting to streak a little bit, which I don't mind. I prefer the piece to kind of go with it. Okay, so you can see it came off because I basically wiped it on and then wiped it back off with a wet paper towel. Now, let's see if I can do this without dropping the camera. Do you see now? Oh, the glare. It's hard to tell, but see this? Where are we? See this right here? This is the black, the glaze that I've made. So I made it like a glaze and left this. And it's in these little cracks. It's hard to see. Now, I'm going to show you the other one. This one I haven't done yet. And so it's just all blue. See that? This one I added the glaze, and so it gives it dimension. See from afar now, it accents that. See the other one? See how it's bland without being done? And then up here, see the difference? So there you go. And if I want to, I could get some more of this off by just wiping it down more. And I can wipe it down with the water because I have clear coated. Sorry, I always say polyacrylic. Well, that's right, it's polyacrylic. Clear coat, Dixie Belle clear coat and satin. I wanted a little bit of sheen. So there you go. So I'm going to continue to do just what I did around the edge of this door and then lower on that other part there, and at the very bottom there. And so basically I'm going to glaze using chalk paint in this little brush. Okay, let me continue and we'll see what happens. Alright, so still working on this display cabinet, and this time we're going to be clear coating it with satin, Dixie Belle satin. I don't know if that's a focus in. And everyone keeps asking how to apply. I'm still going to use the Waverly brush, the same brush that I used to paint it with. You can use a sponge, I've heard. I don't like the idea of a sponge. People say that it's good. I want a little bit of brush strokes, that's on purpose, and I'm going to just do it a light. So when I dip this in here, I'm just going to barely go like this and do a full stroke all the way down before you start the next one. And then if you see you skip the spot, instead of going back and just covering it, that'll make it cloud up and look bad. You just want to leave it until you do the second coat. So you're going to do the first coat just lightly all around the whole piece, and then you're going to wait 2 hours at least, and then you're going to take a 220 grit sand block or sand block that I showed you before, or sandpaper 220 or higher up to 400, and then you're going to take your microfiber cloth, sorry it's attached, wipe it down, and then you'll put another coat of this on. You're going to do that again, and then a third coat. And as you can see, real quick, this was used on a different China hutch. This is 16 ounces. I don't know if you can catch how much is still in there, but I hardly used maybe, what, 2 ounces for a whole project. So even though some people are like, oh, it's a little bit more, you don't use that much, and it's great protection. So again, I'm using the satin. You could use the matte or flat, and also there's glossy, but I chose satin on this one. So I'm just going to start, and then the video is going to end. He's just going to clip off, but I'm just going to show you how I'm just barely, I don't know if the camera will pick that up. It's just on the bristles, just barely. And then I'm going to just go all the way down without stopping. And then I'm going to do the next one. Just lightly. I went back up on that one. That's okay as long as you do a full, again, a dip. And I'm probably going to go back up on that one to get this crevice right here. See what I just did? That was a big no-no. When I came back down like that and it stops, you're going to see that glob. That was not a good move on my part. So I'm just going to just lightly brush that down again. Okay, that's it. We will send you an update when we are done doing the whole piece. Okay, I went all around the piece and glazed it in the black by Waverly. It's called Elephant. It's a grayish black. And I have wiped it off with a wet paper towel. And you'll see now it has some distressing to it. Down here, if you can see in the nooks there, I pulled off a little bit of the paint to distress it right here on this ledge. And further down, got in those crooks and crannies. I always say that crooks and crannies when it's nooks and crannies. So, this is the piece right now. I am going to let it dry because glazing, when you use chalk paint as a glaze, it is wetter than just regular chalk paint, and because I wiped it down, I wanted to really adhere and get into those spots. It's still a little damp in there, and let it dry for a while. You could turn a fan on if you want to make the process go a little bit more, and it might not crackle, that's not the word, but it might goop up a little bit, and if you want it to look old and goopy, that's fine. If not, don't put a fan on it. You can see the side of here. It's hard to see with the light. You can't tell, but basically it's just the paint got into those little crooks. There I go again, crooks and crannies. It's nooks and crannies. And on this side, same thing. So in here is where the Elephant by Waverly got in there, and then I got it a little bit distressed to show a little bit age down here as well. You can see it a lot right here because it's still a little damp. So, all right, we are going to let it rest, and the next process will be lightly sanding it with a 220 or 400 grit sand block or piece of sandpaper. I'm use the sand block because I have it. Wipe it down really good with the microfiber cloth to get all the dust off. And then I'm going to apply either 2 or 3 more coats of clear coat by Dixie Belle in satin to give it a little bit more sheen. I could at this point actually switch to the glossy, but I don't want it to be super glossy. I just want it to have that little light sheen, which is why I'm going to use satin. If you didn't want any sheen and you want it to look farmhouse style, just matte, you would use the flat clear coat by Dixie Belle and apply that. And then of course, in between coats, I'm still going to sand lightly with a 220 or 400 grit, and then wipe it down, and then do another coat and another coat. I think I'm going to do 3, but at least 2, maybe 3, to put on top of the glaze. That'll seal it all really well, and then I'm going to let it breathe and cure. Really, it's ready within hours. Try to touch within 20-30 minutes at the most. Usable within 2 hours. I like to wait a little bit longer. We have an event. Today is Friday. We have we have First Friday tonight. Gallery Hop will be open late to almost midnight with bands and entertainment at the store at the other side. The other side Vintage in Tallahassee. Then we have Saturday, of course, estate sales and going to yard sales and picking and that kind of thing, finding more stuff to paint. And then Sunday we have our Fall Funky Flea, where we have over 50 vendors showing up, anywhere from yard sale, garage sale stuff, all the way up to local artists with big setups. And we're going to have that at the store on the grounds of Railroad Square Art Park where we're located. So 50 vendors set up in the park selling their items. I'm also going to be on Sunday looking at another store who temporarily is going out of business, doing some restructuring, and they may reopen, but in the meantime they want me to buy their merchandise, their stock, which includes mostly clothes and a few smalls. So I'm going to go look at that Sunday with Jason, decide if we're going to take that on, which means we have to pack it all up inventory it, clean and mend anything if there's need to be, and then price it, bring it in the store. So hopefully by Monday, when we're closed, the store's closed only on Mondays, this will be cured beyond time that it needed to be cured, and hopefully we'll get that over in the truck and back over to the store. I'm not working in the warehouse today, I'm working inside my house. You never know with me where I'm going to be working on stuff. So anyways, here you go. And because, by the way, it is Dixie Belle paint, there is no smell. Even with the clear coat, there's no horrendous smell at all. So that's why I'm able to do it right here in the dining room studio area. Might as well just call it the studio because we don't paint here ever. We paint here all the time though. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll have updated photos and pictures at the end.